I don't know, go find him.
Hey, Marlene,
Yeah.
aren't you going to sit in here?
All righty, so we are at 11:01. So I'll get started. So it is being recorded because some of the people couldn't attend this. So thank you for those that are here. And we'll get started and go through this again. I did not put this whole presentation together. I've got to give credit to my partner, Kelly. I gave her all of my ideas and she took it and ran with it. So, so the ride's going to be March 18th, 19th, and 20th. And you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes. Kelly, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, it's visible. Becky, can you hear us?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry, my sound got muted somehow.
Okay, no worries.
All right, so here's the agenda for what we'll be going over. We only have a time limit of 40 minutes. So I think we're down to like 35 now or so. So we'll go over expectations, safety, how to prepare, what to expect, go over the route. And then at the end, we'll do a Q&A and anything that you have. I'll initially go over the questions that I've already received and answer those, and then we'll open up for everybody. So here is expectations. Please understand, very important, this is not an organized ride, nor is it a supported ride. There is no SAG, designated SAG, or any designated stopping points or resting points that's sponsored or anything like that. Make sure that you make your own hotel reservations. I've gotten us discounted rates at Brooksville as well as Delray. So you call them, let them know that you're part of the Coast to Coast Riders, and you'll get a discounted rate. Plan to carry your own bags. As I said before, there's no SAG. So support and gear, that's all you. You're going to be carrying all your stuff, anything you need throughout the 3 days. So come prepared to make your own bicycle repairs and be prepared, know where the bicycle repair shops are, their locations, their hours. I have not had an opportunity to look up all of those, so don't rely on me to get that information over to you because I may not have the time to do that. So it should be on your to-do list. It's a ride at your own risk. However, helmets are required. Please do not ride with us if you're not going to ride with a helmet. And then we highly recommend you use the buddy system. Always have a cyclist that you're going to be riding with, so that if anything happens, there's somebody there for you. So safety is a top concern. You must wear a helmet. It's very important. Use the buddy system. Recommend you wear brightly colored clothes. We are going to be on roads part of the way. Some of them are going to be busy roads. The busy roads do have a bike lane or a sidewalk. We'll be in some backwoods country roads that don't have either. Kelly and I did this ride last year, and we didn't have a lot of traffic that we dealt with on those back roads, but you are in the road with the drivers. So make sure that you have a headlight. We got caught last year in the dark going through the woods. Have a headlight. Bring your glasses. Time, Kelly. I'll be carrying all of my own gear this year. You'll have space. Make sure that you have that headlight. Tail lights are very important for visibility on the roads. So, and remember, do your work on how much time your headlight and your tail light is going to have battery wise. You don't have to use them on the trails clearly, but I do recommend turning them on whenever you're going to be on the roads. Knowing your bicycle limitations is very important. I rode this last year on a gravel bike. So a gravel bike has a little bit thicker tire because I did have someone ask about the width of the tire. I have a gravel bike, it has a little bit thicker of a tire. It went great. Kelly had a mountain bike, had a very thick tire. The thicker tire makes you go slower and uses more energy. So thinner tires are better. However, you can accomplish it. Kelly did perfectly fine. Know your body's limitations. We are not planning to bonk. Do not run yourself to E. Refuel as you need, stop as often as you need. Portions of the trail is going to be full sun. Hydrate, very important, hydrate. Have at least 2 water bottles, possibly, you know, the book bag water bottle. Make sure you do not run out of water. Bicycle choices. So I wasn't aware of all the different types of bikes until I started putting this together. And a gentleman asked me about all these types of bikes on here, which I didn't even know existed. So the biggest thing is know your bicycle, know its limitations, know your limitations, and know the laws for the type of bike that you're going to be riding. I don't know all the laws on these bicycles. I don't know if you're allowed to have them on the trails. So just know your bicycle specifications and abilities. Speed is very important. The faster that you go, the quicker you'll get done. And you want to calculate in that you're going to have rest stops. I don't expect you to only stop at the spots that I have pointed out for us to regroup, the Publixes and the Bergies. I anticipate you'll be stopping at benches and things like that. So estimate about 2-hour stops every day with the exception of the last day. So be realistic on how long you're going to be on that bicycle and that bicycle seat. Prepare your tush. It'll be a very long day if you're going less than 12 miles an hour. So I hope that everyone going on this ride, that your speed is a lot faster than 12 miles an hour. Training. So make sure that you do train for this. Do not just hop on your bicycle and think that you're going to be able to go 100 miles in one day. You must train for this. I recommend at least going 50 miles in a single day and do multiple days of distance biking back to back. That way you can understand what your body needs, what you need to fuel your body, how your bicycle reacts, what your recovery is like, things like that. So make sure that you do train. And group cycling. So one of the questions that I received was concerns about inexperienced cyclists in a group in a Peloton. If you are inexperienced with a Peloton, don't join the Peloton. Because if one person makes a mistake on the Peloton, it could take out the entire group. If you slam on the brakes in a Peloton, you're going to take out the person behind you. Do not brake when you're in a Peloton. You watch the cyclist in front of you. When they stop pedaling, you stop pedaling. One of the things is that we have some e-bikers going. I have never personally ridden with an e-biker. However, I know in a Peloton, I rely on the person in front of me, their pedaling technique to be able to react and to not get into an accident. I'm not, I'll speak to the people that are e-bikers and see what their experience is and their opinions. If you haven't ridden in a group, I highly suggest getting in a group for this. There is a really good one coming up next weekend in Sanford. I forget the name of it, but it starts, I believe, at 7 o'clock in the morning in Sanford. It's a really good ride, and then you get 5 pizza afterwards. So we all bicycle for good food, right? So make sure if you don't have experience bicycling in a group, try to get that experience before the ride. And if you're not able to, then don't bicycle in a group format. A few suggestions. So whenever I was training last year, I read one of my closest cycling partners gifted me the book of the Cyclist Training Bible. And I literally treated it just like that, like the Bible. Every single day I was in that book, I was learning things. And it helped me on the trip across the state last year. So if you're a reader, or even if you're not, I recommend looking at this book and getting some good training tips from it. Schedule a tune-up for 3 weeks prior to your trip. So if you do your own bike maintenance, then I expect that you are very good at being able to make your own repairs and that you're not going to have any problems going across the state. However, if you're like me, get your bike into the shop 3 weeks prior, Kelly, 3 weeks before. That way, as you're going across the state, it will minimize the risk of you running into problems because we do not have a SAG. I know that some people's spouses are going to be their SAG, but that is not a SAG for the entire group. So if there's a bicycle issue, I believe on Sundays they're closed. You'll have to verify that. But there are bicycling shops close by the trail. So you want to make sure that you know their hours, their locations, or you know how to do your own repairs. Carry with you multi-tool kit, repair kits, all of the things that you're going to need to do repairs to your own bicycle as you're going across the state. I'm the checklist type person. And so here are some of the things that you're going to need. It's not all the things that you're going to need. Add to it. Just make sure that you have on there a lot of things for making bike repairs, hydration, refueling, your goos, fingers, snacks, protein, sunscreen. Although a lot of the parts are shaded, there are some very, very exposed portions of the trail. So you're going to need sunscreen. That's important. So let's go over the everyday, day by day, what to expect. So today I did some final changes to the maps. So if you already downloaded the maps, re-download the maps, because I did changes this morning that has specific hour stops. So the two Publixes as well as Bergey's, I added those to the map to make sure that we get right by there. That way there's no confusion on where you're going. So make sure you download those maps. And then we're going to be leaving Tarpon Springs. I did change the time to 10 o'clock because I'm leaving Brevard County, which is on the east coast of Florida, and I'm going over to the west coast of Florida the morning of. So it takes me 3 hours for that commute. So I did change the time to 10 o'clock. So make sure that you're aware of that change. General route and conditions. Everyone is getting dropped off at Howard Beach Park in Tarpon Springs. We'll be on roads, mostly trails. First stop's at Publix, around about 46 miles. Don't look at your map and say, oh, we're at 46 miles, I should see Publix. It's about that. And then we're going to end at the Brooksville Hampton Inn. It's going to be a total of 47 miles. So make sure, again, going back to your average speed. Please, everyone, know your average speed. Train to go faster. So if your average speed right now is 15, train to go faster than that. That's what I'm doing. Because the faster you go, the quicker you'll get done, the more you'll enjoy it. And then also the upside too is all of the stops along the way, you'll be able to experience more things. If you go faster, you'll be able to stop and look at the springs and things like that. So day 2, this is our difficult day. This is the day that everybody should be concerned and training for. So download the map. We'll be leaving Brooksville at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. because this is going to be a very long day. We want as much sunlight as we can get. This is the day that I got stuck in the dark. So make sure that you plan ahead and that you're prepared. So 8 a.m. leave time. The general route, so it's probably going to be like 50-50, 50% on the trail, 50% on the road. This is the most dangerous part of the whole trip. So have cycling buddies. That's very important to have cycling buddies because you're going to be on very busy roads, some portions, And then will be country roads, other portions. Make sure that you have at least, 1, 2 people that you can really rely on. If you run into a problem, they have your, emergency contact people, or they know what to do if there's ever an incident. We'll be stopping at the designated spot for stopping is Publix. So you can refuel there, you can get, anything that you need. And that's going to be about 42 miles. And then we'll end in DeBary. That's our 100-mile day. If you're going 15 miles an hour, you're going to be 6.5 hours on your bicycle seat and 2 hours stopping. So that's a long day. It's 8.5-hour day. If you go slower, do the math. Day 3. Download the map. So the only change that I did today was I added Vergis on the stop, because we have to go a little bit farther south on the trail, just like a mile. And then we'll hit Vergis and then we'll head back up north. But Vergis is a nice stopping point. If you haven't ever been to Vergis, it's a very nice, Vergie is really nice lady. That stop has saved me several times. It is cash only. Please, please, please bring cash and support Vergis. There's nobody there that is taking any money from you, like a cashier or anything like that. Is donations only. She does it out of the kindness of her heart. She's an amazing lady. She has everything that you could want there. She has Gatorades, waters, ice buckets, snacks, all of that. This is our easy day, so there's not a whole lot to be concerned with on this day. The whole way you're going to be on a trail until we get to Edgewater. After we get to Edgewater, we'll be on the roads, but there is a bike lane, and then we'll be ending at the beach where there's a bunch of bars that we can celebrate at. Total miles 43. So do the math on. It's not a tough day, so you'll probably go slower than 15 miles an hour. So this day you can stop at a couple different springs if you wanted to. If you've never visited the Florida Springs, you can stop at Gemini Springs, Green Springs, and then those are the 2 springs along the route. So if you wanted to add those to your map to make sure that you're able to see the springs, they're beautiful. All righty, so questions here. I will stop sharing my screen and I'll answer. So my contact information, take my contact information. I put this whole thing together, but again, it's not an organized or supported group or anything like that. We're not insured. You're riding at your own risk. We're not liable if anything were to happen. One thing that I didn't have on the list that I feel that you may need is pepper spray, because we did have a couple of dogs last year run out of people's backyards. Luckily, none of them actually chased us or anything, but they came close enough to make me hesitant. So make sure you add that to the list. But here's my contact information. If you have an emergency, if there's something, after this, if you still have questions, give me a call, send me an email. And then I will stop sharing this. And then I will go. Let me go over some of the questions that I already received. Okay, if we have major mechanical breakdown, not just a flat, do we have suggestions on how to handle? Maybe a list of bike shops. So again, bike shops, yes, do your research, find the bike shops, know the hours of operation of them. On Sundays, a lot of bike shops close. So be aware of that. Probably do a checkup on your bicycle 3 weeks out if you don't do your own maintenance on it. Spouses or anybody riding SAG. We do not have a designated SAG person. So support and gear. We do have a couple of spouses that are going to be their spouses support and gear. If they wish to share their contact information or want to be more than just one person SAG, they can let us know. But right now we do not have SAGs. Dinner options and reservations. So are there dinner options walking distance to the hotels on that Friday or Saturday night? We should make should we make reservations? So if in February, we'll make plans if about restaurants, but there are walking distance restaurants, and I'll post those on the group. Last year in Delray, we Ubered in Delray to a restaurant. And in Brooksville, we went to the nearest restaurant, which was less than a mile. It's Cracker Barrel. There's other options there within a 1 mile walking distance. Transportation to Tampa after the ride. I don't provide transportation. There is a gentleman that many of you have contacted, but he hasn't responded back. I'll try to reach out to him, but you may want to rent a truck and plan for that. I always have plan A, B, and C. You never know in this world. Concerns about inexperienced cyclists, I already went over that. So now I'll open it up. Any questions you might have?
How many people do you anticipate?
I'm guessing 15. I have 20 something that have responded. I think I have 25 that responded saying they're going to go. But that doesn't mean that all 25 are going to go. I'm guessing maybe 15.
Coming from Texas, I'm concerned about the wind. Is there a wind direction issue?
So on the trail, because a lot of the way you are protected from the wind, practically any direction that you're going. So wind doesn't really become a factor on that because of the woods protecting you from it. And then are you experienced in Pelotons?
I've ridden with groups, yeah.
Okay, so you can draft off of one another. So if you get tired, one person can take the headwind and then the next person, you just drag off of one another. And I've done that a lot with my riding partner. That's part of my training is, getting him to be able to let me draft on him.
So how many men, women have signed up?
I don't know that specific.
But
most of the
right
people
now,
that's contacted me has been women, actually.
yeah, I thought it was a women's group. Didn't know.
Be the day of.
What's that?
We'll see on the day of. on the
Yeah.
15th.
Who are the anybody else an e-biker? I'm an e-biker. Anybody else in this?
Becky, I'm an e-triker. I have a Catrike 559.
I'm sorry, you're
She
coming
says she
in.
has a trike, the
Oh, a trike?
three-wheeled, e-bike.
And because I have a second battery, because there's no way one battery would get me there unless I was at the very peak of my shape, and I wouldn't trust that. So, I mean, a lot of batteries, unless you have the really, really high-end bikes, don't go 100.
Right, I'm taking an extra battery.
Okay.
Becky, I wondered if you had ever tried to break up that 100-mile day into shorter pieces, if there is an option. I know.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, those that don't want to do the 100-mile, I would not suggest this group. If you don't think that 100 miles is doable for you, I would bike it over several more days. Maybe you can even start day 1 with us and then break day 2 up into several different bite-sized pieces to make it more enjoyable for you.
I wondered if in following the trail, when you merge from one trail onto another, is it readily apparent, the markings on the trail?
No, not always. Sometimes where one ends, one begins, there's no transition at all. It's just maybe the different counties or things like that. And there's connector trails. So it's not, you're not at a fork in the road or something like that on all of the splits. Some of the splits you are.
Yeah, that's why having those downloaded maps is so helpful because they'll basically notify you when the next upcoming turn or trail are coming so that you can be aware.
And Ride with GPS is really good because I needed turn-by-turn instructions because I didn't want to sit there and look at a map as, I'm bicycling. I wanted something to chime at me and tell me, hey, a turn is coming up, or in a half a mile, you're going to turn left. That way I'm not trying to stare at a map. So Ride with GPS that's the only one that I found that actually chimes at you and says, in a quarter of a mile, turn.
So
Is
Becky, I've seen your posts in Facebook, but if I was just going on my Facebook site, what would I type in to find the website?
To
I
find
know
what
this sounds
website.
really stupid. Like, just how would I get to the website?
What website?
The Coast to Coast, or not the website, or the group
The
where you have it
Facebook group?
downloaded.
I can
Where you
message
download.
it over to you. I'll
Okay,
write down
okay,
your name.
all right, I just.
Yeah, I can send it to you in a message. Did
Oh,
you
it's
click
Florida
on
Coast to
going
Coast.
or?
I got it. It's Florida Coast to Coast. I kept doing it wrong.
Florida Coast to Coast is the group.
Yeah.
That's not the event for this particular ride.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna send me that site?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
So if you go to the event for this ride and you go over to discussions, there's a lot of different information that's listed in discussions.
Okay.
Becky, I got a question. For those of you who don't have somebody following along at SAG, are you packing clothing on bags on your cycle? Okay.
Absolutely.
Great.
I'm actually bringing a big book bag that I put all of my gear in, and I may actually add to the back of my bicycle like
Okay.
a carrier.
Okay. And any other road bikes in the group?
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
on bike.
Okay. Thank you.
So Becky, last year you packed everything in your book bag and carried it rather than use panniers.
Yep, I had 1 gallon size Ziploc bag that I had to add on to Kelly's gear. So this year I'm gonna probably add on to the back of my bike, just a little carrier. But everything that I had, all of my gear went in a book bag and I wore that the whole time.
Yeah, and I didn't have a book bag, but I did have one of those cargo racks on the back of my bike, and then a bag that I had strapped down with bungee cords that we did attach further things on top of that bag to make it all work.
So if we want to print out the map, do we do that? Can we do that too
Oh, sure.
at your site? Is that how we do that?
Well, you
They
click
copy
on
and
the
paste
link, the GPS link that I have in the description, in the discussion section, and you could probably
Right.
print it from like Strava or Ride with GPS, something like that.
Okay.
But if you're gonna rely on a printed map, make sure you put that in a Ziploc bag, because if you get rained on or anything like that.
Right.
Any other questions?
Hey, Becky, I have a couple of suggestions.
Sure.
Good morning. Good presentation.
Thank you.
A couple of things for folks that haven't ridden long distance before. One thing to be very aware of is electrolytes. And if you read about electrolytes, you can read in the book that Becky recommended, or any biking book or online. Electrolytes are really important. You need to stay ahead of your electrolyte curve. As you exercise, you burn up your electrolytes. And after about an hour or so of exercise, you've used quite a lot of your electrolytes that are stored in your body. So you need to make sure that you replenish those as you ride along. There's a lot of sport gels that you can take with you. I always carry 3 to 4 in a back pocket. I also put electrolytes in a water bottle. So just read up on that and make sure that you are electrolyting yourself as you ride along. A second thing that's regarding training. you can just learn how to ride behind somebody, just two of you. It doesn't have to be in a group. Just if you've got a riding buddy, you can say, hey, I want to practice riding behind you, drafting as it's called. And that way you'll get experience riding behind somebody. Ideally, you want to shoot for about 6 to 7 inches off, not necessarily directly behind, but off a little bit to the side. I started out like 2 or 3 feet behind and 3 feet off to the side. And I just over years moved myself in closer and closer to the bicyclist in front of me. What Becky said about watching their pedaling is really important, and listen to their pedaling, because a lot of times you can hear something change in the rider in front of you before you see it. Another training clue would be sprints are a really good way to increase your endurance and your wind and therefore your speed. So there's a lot of information out there online and in the books about how to train using sprints, and you can do sprints on your own. I do typically a sprint for about 45 to a minute, 45 seconds, not 45 minutes, 45 seconds to a minute, sprint as hard as I can. Then I take a cut back a little bit. If I sprint for 45 minutes, I cut back a whole lot. And then do another sprint, then take another relaxed riding for a little bit, and then another sprint. And there's lots, like I said, there's all this stuff is online. You just gotta search for it. And hopefully these things I'm saying will help you, the trigger words to search for. So what else did I have? Oh, another good training regime. Get a training regime, as in training for any sport, you want to get a regime. I use a 3-2-1 regime. The first day I ride distance, the second day I ride speed, and the third day is a recovery ride. So the first day I'll typically do like 40 miles. Second day I'll do 20 miles, but I'll up the speed as much faster. And the third day I'll ride 10 miles or so, 15 miles, and I go a lot slower. And then I take 2 days rest, because you got to have those rest days in there for your muscles to regroup and rebuild. Any exercise program, you need to have, if you go to the gym and you're a weightlifter, you don't work your arms day after day after day after day. You work your arms one day, you work your stomach muscles another day, da 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 da. You want to do the same thing here. 3, 2, 1, fast, distance, speed, and then recovery, then rest. And then I repeat it. Ride by GPS is really good. Clothing and packing. When I ride long distance multiple nights and I don't have any support, I'll tell you what I do. I wear the same biking kit every day. When I get to the hotel, I take it off, I wash it, I hang it up, and it's drying the next morning. You can, if there's an overhead fan, you can hang it on underneath the overhead fan. I do that here. I hang it off the light bulb, the overhead fan, and they'll be dry. So you need the biking clothes you're wearing. You need a pair of socks that you're wearing. You need your shoes that you're wearing, and flip-flops, and maybe something to wear when you go out to dinner. I don't particularly care whether I wear my biking clothes when I go out. It just advertises the sport as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, so figure out ways to minimize your weight. You don't need Q-tips. You don't need nail polish. I don't even take any lipstick. I do not take any lipstick, that's for sure. So those are some of the things that popped in my mind. And if you got any questions, you can find me on Facebook, TEbridge_98, or you can find me through this group, that Becky's group here. I'm on here. I don't know that I'll be able to go. I have a prior commitment overseas for a bicycle ride in the end of April, and I go in March to train for it. But I'll be glad to help, be glad to ride with anybody. I'm not particularly fast right now. I'm averaging about 15, but I hope to increase that between now and whenever. I just want to ride faster. So, and I'm in
Thank you.
Melbourne. So, any questions? Feel free.
What was your contact again?
I'll tell you that I don't really remember my Facebook, but you can find me. I'm on this group here, Becky's group, Brevard Cycling. I'm on the event page also.
Tom
But
Bridgman
my-
on Facebook.
Yeah, my email is is phonetically, it's Tango Echo, Bravo Romeo, Indigo Delta, George Echo, _98 at Yahoo.
Could you say that without the military?
Sure. Wait a minute, let me change my hat. It's TE Bridge, Tango Echo Bridge, _98 at yahoo.com.
Okay,
Tom is a very good, that's my cycling partner that I've been probably 3 years now cycling with Tom. And he's a wealth of information. Everything I've learned from him. So
I don't know if any e-bikers besides me are gonna end up going. You still have to train, because, you know, I've done some rides with the e-bike and I had knee replacements, so I don't really have a choice, but, it's mostly, you still, you know, you still have to condition and train because it's nonstop pedaling no matter what. It's just not resistance. So, you know, this is gonna be a little challenge for me because my longest distance so far has been 64 nonstop miles, where I calculatedly did not stop pedaling the entire time to make sure that, you know, I wasn't coasting most of it. But I'm in Michigan. It's cold here right now.
Oh,
So I'm gonna have to do a lot of stationary bike training just to get my butt, my back, my legs going. But, you know, I just figured this was a great timing and a great trip, and I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time. So,
it's a gorgeous.
but if anybody has room in a sag wagon, I'll take a load off my bike. I have panniers because I did do half the Katy Trail in like 4 days, and I did panniers, which
Sure.
are heavy. But how about bug spray? Do we need bug spray? Is it a buggy?
oh, you'll be riding too fast. The bugs will
Exactly.
never
The
stop
bugs
us.
aren't going to be able to keep up with you.
How much water do you typically carry for a day?
I carried a book bag as well as so a Camelback as well as a bottle of water, but you stop at gas stations whenever you feel like you're getting a little bit low and you refill.
So if I had 32 ounces on me, that'd be enough because there's
Yeah.
plenty to.
Yeah, just look at the trail and know when you need to refill.
Becky, you said you were driving from the west coast to the east coast. My question is about parking your vehicle. Are you just going to park it there at the
My
Howard?
husband is driving me over there
Okay.
and dropping me off.
I'm just wondering about parking at Howard Beach. Is that safe to just leave my car there?
Maybe
or-
just call them and ask them if you're allowed to overnight park it there. Or see if
A
there's
lot of
parking garages close by.
If there's a close by 24-hour Walmart or something like that,
Right, that might be an option.
because they have
And I'll be-
cameras.
I'll be staying at a hotel in Tarpon Springs before we depart, so I might could talk to that hotel and say, can I just leave it here for a few days?
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't care.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, I've done the hotel overnight parking or parking while I was going to be a couple of days on the trail. And they typically just say, could you park out of the way? And that's it.
okay. I'll try it.
Yep.
Is anybody staying at that B&B in Tarpon Springs that I signed up for that one in Tarpon Springs?
Mhm. I don't know where everyone is staying
Becky, you sent me some information or it was posted on there that some people had found this B&B there. So I
Hmm.
took a room there.
at. Awesome.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that, so I want to hear about that.
Okay. I'll have to give,
Just
I'll have to look it
comment
up.
or something, just comment on the event or something with it.
I could, yeah, post it on the site or something.
Is
I
anybody-
don't remember where I got it. I got it from Becky. I don't know if you texted it to me, Becky, or it was on your page. I'll find it, make it reposted.
Okay.
Becky, is anyone in this group near Dunedin?
I'm
Anybody
sorry?
live near Dunedin?
I didn't hear that.
Is anyone in this group near Dunedin?
Dunedin?
Dundee.
Oh,
Dunedin.
Dundee.
Yes.
Yes,
You are, Chris?
yeah, I'm in Brandon,
Oh, okay, so,
not that close, but I've ridden in Dunedin many times.
okay. Okay.
It's snowing.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So does anybody else have medical concerns? I mean, I ride with a replaced knee and a rod in my femur and nuts and bolts in my shoulder. And that's just the easygoing stuff. So it's good that somebody, that's a good point also. You should carry on you some emergency contact information. I have a plastic case that hangs down off a chain around my neck. And in there I carry a emergency contact information. I carry my driver's license. I carry a credit card. I carry my Medicare card and $20 or so. So
You know-
you should please everybody carry emergency contact information on you somewhere that, for instance, an ambulance driver or something like that, or one of your buddies here on the bike ride could find quickly in case there's an emergency.
You know what would be handy to have, whether we just do it spontaneously the morning of or in advance, would be to have everybody who shows up at Howard to take off that morning. We should just take down, everybody should, their cell number and one emergency number next to it. So let's say we get to hotel and Joe doesn't show up or Jane doesn't show up, and we don't have any idea. It would be nice that we could call and at least be able to call Jane's contact person and say, hey, she didn't show up.
That's a
Or,
good
you know what I
idea.
mean? That just as a backup. you
Yeah.
know,
That's a good idea.
So, I don't know if we get closer to the event or even the morning of, I would want everybody's number just so I would have it.
Yeah, probably like do the week before. That way we know who to expect
going.
to be there on the morning of.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it just, just have their cell number and their emergency contact number. That would be, I think, just a good safety measure.
Yeah,
That's a
good
good idea.
Is there a list of the motels and contact info anywhere?
The two that I recommend are on the events page under the discussions. I think they're Hampton Inn,
Brookville,
Brooksville, and then Hampton Inn,
DeBerry.
DeBerry.
So it's Hampton and Hampton?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Those are the hotels I stayed at last year, and I had very nice experiences at both of them. One person asked about a pool,
that was me.
and yes, so the pools, if they're not heated, you're not going to want to go in them. It's not going to be warm enough. So
Yeah.
whether or not they have pools or not, that wasn't top of my.
The only one that had a pool was the Quality Inn next door to Brookville's Hampton Inn. They used to share the pool, then they don't anymore. But when Becky reminded me that it wouldn't quite be warm enough, and they're not going to heat their pool because
Right.
not at that. And their room rate was too cheaper, way too much cheaper than Hampton Inn. It made me nervous.
And
Now, you get what you
the
pay for.
arrival time that we got there and the departure time, we didn't really look over to see anything about that hotel. So I don't have an input on that. So, all right, if there is no other questions, we're gonna end this, and I'm gonna add this recording to the Facebook events page so that everybody can see what we discussed. Again, my contact information is Becky Webb. My phone number is 321-446-7758. You can send me over an email, beckywebb.realtor@gmail.com. I'm coming from Brevard County, the Space Coast. And I'm going to set up a couple of ride events before this, so then we can see each other face to face, those that are local.
And we are riding tomorrow, by the way, if anybody
Wait,
wants
yes.
to look out 60. Sorry, Becky.
Yep, so we're doing 60 miles tomorrow, spring to spring. It's part of the trail that we're going to be doing. We're riding out of Verghese. If you don't know where Verghese is, call me, message me. And we're riding out 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, leaving Verghese, heading west. And that's a large portion of the Coast to Coast Trail. It's called Spring to Spring. I have about 4 people going on it tomorrow. If you are interested in riding tomorrow, it'll be a great day for riding.
What city, what city's Bergie's in?
What state is Verghese in?
No, what city?
Ooh,
It's near the Maytown trailhead. Or is it Gobbler's Lodge? I think it's Maytown.
Maytown.
Trailhead.
you're right, Maytown.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
How many miles are you guys doing tomorrow?
It's 30 miles out and 30 miles
30
back.
back. Great. I
Yeah,
may join. Okay.
awesome.
Is anybody else in the local area? Sounds like Shannon is.
I'm in Stewart.
Stuart,
Okay,
that's close enough.
great.
Yeah, if you guys want to ride anytime, give me a shout.
Yeah.
We'll go.
Awesome.
I was in DeBerry last weekend.
I'm sorry?
I was in DeBerry last weekend,
Very.
Oh, well, there you go.
Trailhead.
Super.
That new section's really nice. Did you
Oh,
ride
yeah.
that? Yeah.
Last year, Kelly and I mountain biked that area because it was still under construction. So we forced our way through, took pictures like in their dump trucks and stuff.
That's
It was
cool.
fun.
Becky, thank you so much for putting this together. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it. And all the
Thanks.
work you've done.
Yes,
wanting
thank
to
you,
do
Becky.
this.
Nice job.
Thank you, Becky.
Very
Thank
good,
you.
thank you.
All righty, thank you, everybody, and hopefully I'll be in contact and see all you in March.
Thank you.
Have a
All
great
right.
day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.